Welcome to Every Single Journey, a family life original podcast for singles. My name is Becki. I'm a single girl in my 30s who is passionately pursuing this life God has given me. Join me as we navigate the season of singleness together. Joining us today are Mike and Emma. Okay, guys, what narratives do the love stories in movies portray? Whether it be positive or negative. I guess let's go with negative first. What negative narratives do rom-coms or dramas, or can even be murder mysteries, whatever it is, what negative narrative do they portray that we subconsciously grasp onto and potentially use in our own lives of, oh, this is how my love story has to go?
So Hollywood's primary purpose is to make money, right? Mm-hmm. And to entertain. Mm-hmm. And I would say, to your question, they're selling the product of love, right? Just like anybody else who is trying to sell you something, they're selling love. I think probably 99% of the time, love is also equal to sex when it comes to Hollywood. Mm. And also this love, I think, is something that becomes an idol. Yeah. In most cases. We're just talking about the negative stuff here. There's lots of positive things.
We'll get to the positive.
Yeah. That I would say it's love, which also is mostly sex, and it's an idol. And I was thinking through this: is this real? What they're selling, what they're showing you, is it real? And it kind of reminded me of how we talk about social media, especially from like the mental health perspective, where we have a tendency to look at everybody's perfect little profiles and realize that we're not them. But the reason we're not is because they're only putting the perfect pictures and the perfect videos and the perfect everything in. So in a similar way, I think in these movies, we're only seeing the extremes. We're only seeing the absolute best, like the perfect looking people, the perfect everything, or the absolute worst because we need to have drama in order to make it interesting and sell it. But we're not seeing the middle ground, which is the mundane, the day-to-day, the actual things that most of our lives are made of. So the realism, I think it's there in that it's a piece of everybody's most perfect form, but there's not any single person who is all of those best qualities. So in that case, it can be very misleading and probably detrimental, just like going onto social media and feeling depressed and discouraged because you're not like all those other people, can be harmful to people. Yeah.
I agree. No, I like that you brought up, Mike, the idealistic piece of Hollywood, because that is very true. And I mean, and that's anything in the world, you know? They're going to cling to something to make it what is the ultimate goal, because without Christ, you're constantly searching to fill this hole. And what gift has he given us that is very fulfilling here on earth? And that is love. That's companionship. And whether that's familial, whether that's relational, romantic, whatever, that's a very fulfilling thing. That's how we can like physically attach to another person and they can fulfill some of our needs. So obviously Hollywood is going to grasp onto that because that's a physical thing that they can portray, that everyone really wants. You want to be loved. We can get down the rabbit trail of what is love. Obviously, biblically, it's very different than what the world says. But I wanted to grasp on some specific tropes that I stay on top of a lot of the shows that come out. Yes, because of curiosity. Also because I work with students, so I want to know what they're consuming. So I'll often read, like, I'm still pretty up to date with young adult novels as well as shows that are coming out that I know that like the middle schoolers and the high schoolers are going to be watching, so that I can talk to them about how, I actually think that like The Summer I Turned Pretty is really an unhealthy thing to be consuming, and we should not be modeling our romantic lives after this. So something that is often portrayed is that like all consuming, can't sleep, can't breathe without this other person, soulmate. There is one person in the world for you, and it doesn't matter if you're with someone else, there's this other person. There's always this one person for you that you have to find. That's often portrayed. Like they'll be in different relationships, or you'll follow these people 5 years down the line, but 5 years in their life. A movie just came out, and it was People We Meet on Vacation. It's a new Netflix movie. It just came out. And that was the trope. They were best friends all through college and they were in multiple different relationships, but there was always this invisible string that connected them, and then they come crashing together at the end.
But I love you. I'm always gonna love you. So there's not one thing in my whole life that I wouldn't give up to build something new with you. Because when I'm sad or sick, you're all I want.
It was entertaining, but I was like, that's so unhealthy to like constantly to be telling yourself, oh, there's just this one perfect soulmate for me that I just have to find on this earth. So that's one of the tropes. The other one that's super big right now, if you've seen it on social media, is bring back yearning. Have you guys heard that at all? We need to bring back men who yearn. I'm super passionate about this one. And that's one that came out with The Summer I Turned Pretty, because it's one of the boys in it is like desperately interested in this girl, and he is like very moody, very dramatic, and like she is his sole focus, and it's like they're like he's yearning for her, like
it's like all consumed by
it is
her?
all consuming.
Okay.
Yes. And so they're like oh, bring back boys men who yearn, and they'll often compare that to like Mr. Darcy, which I do not think is a fair comparison. But so I just think that there's this like they're preaching this hyperfixation on love, and yeah, that's just a little bit of what Hollywood is kind of preaching to audiences.
I went down the nostalgia trail, I guess is what I'll call it. I was thinking about my childhood, and I was like, I loved Disney princess movies. And they were just fun and encouraging, and most often, well, if it's a Disney princess, the lead is a girl. So that obviously was appealing. And I loved Beauty and the Beast. And I loved it now that I'm older and can think back on it. I loved it because Belle is this girl who is portrayed as someone who's just different, someone who doesn't conform to everything else around her and just does her own thing. And she's just that Belle and reads books and like does all this stuff that like, why would you do that according to what like normal people are telling you to do? And then she gets trapped in the house with the Beast, and she tames him, and she brings him back to a human form and teaches him how to be have manners and be kind and be gentle, and like to me it's portrayed that she pulls all of that out of him and she fixes him in a sense. And then you look at some of the other Disney princess movies, and it's kind of the exact opposite. Like, oh, if you're a damsel in distress, and your knight in shining armor will come and rescue you, and your hero will be there, and then you'll ride off into the sunset and live for this happily ever after. And then I got thinking about it, and I'm like, I also really enjoy the Marvel Universe movies. And that is kind of an adult version of Disney princess movies, because you have a hero who's usually a guy, and now they have a few more that have female heroes in them.
Sure.
But it's bigger in a sense because the hero isn't just rescuing his love, he's rescuing and saving either the whole world or a big population or overcoming this big evil thing. And through the entire thing, you watch either just the character's devotion and love and attention in a community sense, in a I have these powers, I'm going to use them to save the everyday people because that's what I need to do. But I'm also assuming because he has that community love and connection, and or you see it portrayed as he's got to save his love, who usually ends up captured by the evil people and all of that kind of stuff. And so I got thinking about it and I was like, oh, that really could leave a negative view on how I'm supposed to act in order to find my one person, as the world would have me think. Either I'm supposed to be this unique person who either has her own set of hobbies that are just kind of unique and different, or this hero in a sense that has these superhero powers, and I'm supposed to come in and save and fix and rescue and change and make that relationship into my ideal perfect relationship. Or I'm supposed to be the opposite, and I'm supposed to be this damsel in distress who is just living life and stuck in a tower, or living in my community, and this evil plot is out to try to kill us and overturn us, and I'm just waiting for the hero to come in and rescue it. And I'm like, that's not how I should be looking at love at all. That puts so much pressure on me to either control the situation or to be like, oh, I'm not going to control anything. I'm just going to sit here and be a bum on the couch and wait till I'm rescued by somebody.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Do you guys feel that some of these negative things that we've talked about have somehow or in some way infiltrated how you think or act about love, or actions that you've taken that you later look at and go, oh, I was believing a lie, and I was believing these negative things that the movies have been pouring into me, and it caused maybe harm, but it caused like a difficult time until you realized it. And then like, how did you realize it and make that shift, but also while still able to enjoy the movies and entertainment industry?
Right. I've been nodding emphatically at what that you say. Like, oh yeah. Because we're very affected by what we choose to consume. It's funny. I've had a lot of conversations over this past year because my roommate is engaged. So she's like in her first like really, really serious relationship. And often a sentence that comes out of our mouths is like, movies have ruined romance, or like, it's all a lie. And like we had a conversation about it literally this past week, being like, oh, well, that's just movies have ruined love, or they've totally shifted our mind and mentality of what we believe is true, or what should be happening, or how we should be reacting when we're treated in such a way, or just even timelines, actions within early stages of relationships, later stages, like when do you say I love you? When do they have their first kiss? When all of these things that.
So you mean it's not like a Hallmark movie where it happens in 2 weeks? I'm not going to meet someone and just fall in love?
Right. I'm not going to go to my hometown, on my like summer vacation and suddenly meet that like man who's chopping down trees for my family. Or like, I don't know. It's just, and then suddenly move home and start a family in a year. It's crazy. And I have witnessed in other friends' lives and in my own how it has shaped what I believe when I should say certain things in previous relationships. When should you say I love you? When should this happen? Especially because in media, the physical aspect of a relationship normally starts before the relationship is even defined, or like it's very quick. And unfortunately for us, the Bible doesn't give us guidelines of physical contexts within a relationship. So that's something that I think that has definitely affected me in my journey, because you didn't have guidelines, and you've watched movies and they're like kissing right off the bat, and you just don't even know how much that affects you emotionally, and how when it says, don't awaken love before it's time, that's part of what it's talking about. Don't awaken those, the hormones that are affected, yada, yada. So that is one way that I have seen it, as well as very dramatic actions. More so I've seen on the male side of like hearing stories of men showing up at someone's house at like in the middle of the night and saying like, and professing love, or like getting like brought into a really dramatic situation where they like pull you out into the rain, and because they've been consuming a lot of movies, and that's just not realistic nor necessary. And that butterfly feeling that you feel that is very much heightened in media is often not because of this giddiness, excitement. It's often driven by fear and riskiness. So when you're not feeling those feelings early in a relationship, oftentimes we as girls can question, okay, does that mean this isn't the right other half in quotation marks for me? This isn't that right person because they're not making me feel all crazy. No, you're feeling safe. So you're not having these butterflies, these heightened emotions. You're not having quickness of breath, all those things. But I've blabbered. What do you think, Mike?
No, that's great. I'm surprised that the dramatic things like pulling somebody out into the rain and showing up at somebody's house in the middle of the night didn't work. That's, I don't know. It works in the movies and it seems to work really well. So I went through, I'll call it a phase.
Oh boy.
Are you still in this phase?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, good.
This was when I was in like middle school and high school. I watched a lot, not romantic comedies because I don't like those. It's like if we're gonna talk about love, it's gonna be serious and somebody should die probably. I should walk away feeling really sad at the end of the film, but a little bit of hope.
LOL, La La Land.
Yeah. So I watched more of the drama romance films, I'd say, and I walked away knowing that this is unrealistic, this isn't real, but also at the same time I want this, and knowing that it was contrary to what God wants for me, is contrary to the Bible, because the Bible lays out very clearly what marriage looks like and what is for after marriage and what and Hollywood just says, who cares about that? But all the same, the movies were much more appealing to me than the Bible. And so I got into this headspace where that's what I wanted. I wanted that relationship and that passionate love story. And so for a while, it was something to look forward to. Be like, well, I don't have it now, but one day I'll have that. One day I'll get that. And then that turned into it should be now. Now's the time where this should, look how old these people are on the film.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing, yeah.
So, yeah, it sort of consumed me for a bit in the desire to have what they had at the expense of what God says is good for me, what is even just healthy for me. And there came, I think, maybe sort of a turning point where I realized, well, this isn't really happening to me, so I guess I can look at these movies more as an escape, and I can think, well, I'm never going to have this thing, so I'll watch movies about this and I'll just wish myself away. Oh, I wish I could be this guy, or I wish I could be this guy. So for me personally, that I think has not really helped so much. That's been more harmful throughout my high school years. And I think even now, I just need to be careful about what films I consume, because obviously I'm not married. I am single, hence I'm on this podcast. And sometimes there can be a rationalization of, well, I'll just watch this anyway because I'm not in this situation. I'm not married. Maybe I'll never be married. But at least I could watch this thing and see it through the eyes of somebody else. And I think just I need to be careful even with that.
Might I get behind your like comment about rom-coms and like you don't want to consume it if it's just like comedy of romance? I can get behind it a little bit because if the driving force of the movie is the love story, like that is the number one, then it is not as enjoyable to me. Same as books. Like if it is a book that is fully like, this is about a love story, I'm like, this is the boringest thing in the whole world. Like, can we like have some world building? Can we have some sort of like conflict? Can a war be going on? Like I need something else to focus on. And then they could be the subplot that I'm excited to reach every now and again. So yeah, I can relate to you in that.
And I will say I think there are some rom-coms that have a little bit of heart in them too that I don't completely hate. There's some good ones out there.
Okay.
I guess. I don't really know. I haven't watched many.
Okay.
Maybe we'll have to put together a list of some rom-coms that are not all just straight love story and watch them and then drag Mike along to dip his feet in the water. For me, I think it's the negative side that affected me is the way that I believed I was supposed to find love or that love was going to find me. So either I was going to find it by I had a crush on somebody. Now I need to fix this person to make them exactly into the person that they need to be for me. And that's not realistic. And that doesn't happen. And that doesn't work well. Or, love is going to find me. But then the longer and longer on this journey that I've gone and not been asked out, not received attention from guys, or if I have received attention from guys, especially in my high school years, it seemed like the minute they weren't interested was when they discovered I had a food allergy. And that's because food allergies back then were pretty rare and they weren't common in the circles that I ran in. So I was one of the very few people that actually had a food allergy. So it was really weird because it's like, we were all fine and good friends and joking around and flirting until we all went to get our food and you realized, I'm just going to grab a fruit and eat the food that I brought because I can't eat what everybody else is bringing.
It's crazy.
And so that was probably like one of the bigger things that pointed out what I realized was the negative way that it was affecting me, is any of the circles that I have run in and the friends that I've had around me. Yes, we have a lot of similarities and some common interest, but for the most part, I'm interested in sports, I'm interested in quilting and crafting, and I'm interested in going on adventures, and I'm interested in several other things. And the people that I was good friends with and that surrounded me weren't necessarily as interested in those things. They were interested in almost the opposite. So like they weren't interested in sports and they weren't interested in crafts. I don't know if too many guys that are, it's not a problem, but it's one of those things where it's like, I thought that kind of like the Beauty and the Beast thing, I had picked up this thinking of, I'm so unique in the hobbies that I have and all the people around me don't have those same ones. But at some point I'll meet someone and we'll live happily ever after. And the more and more like that I kept going, it's like, that's just not happening for me. It made me really pause and think of, if it's not happening, I'm the common denominator. Like what's going, am I doing something wrong? Am I not doing something right? And so I got thinking about it and I was like, okay, my approach to this is probably not the healthiest. And where did it come from? And then realizing it came from these different movies of having that like tug of war of like, you either have to be the hero or you have to be the damsel in distress. And one of those two shoes is going to help you find your person, and realizing that's not realistic and that's not how life works. Now, hobbies and different things like that may be what is used to meet someone and to have fulfilling, good conversation. And it might lead to a potential partner, but it's not going to be like the main reason. And so just realizing, oh, I was just acting on a subconscious thing that I picked up. So taking the time to realize, what am I consuming? And in what way am I consuming it? Am I watching movies just because it's a good pastime and it's something I can enjoy and I can have fun with and I can use as a way to connect with people and enjoy the time that we're watching the movie, but also enjoy talking about the movie and the different plots and the different things that the movie did well or the different things I didn't like about it? Or am I watching it and going, oh, that's how I'm supposed to find love, or that's what it's supposed to look like. So for me, I just really have to like think about those things when I'm going into a movie. Otherwise, I might be consuming a movie for completely the wrong reason, and it is not healthy at all. So now that we've chatted about the negatives,
Unhealthy.
let's chat about some of the positive.
Okay.
Movies are fun. Movies are good. There is a lot of good there, but I feel like the negative and the bad can outshine the good. So I want to spend a few minutes like actually talking about the good, happy things.
Yeah. So I made a little listy list of some movies that I was like, okay, I think I can get behind some of their romances. And I think I just want to disclaim what we've already talked about was kind of this unhealthy portrayal of finding completeness in someone else. You know, you're finding this perfect individual that you can like fit in like a puzzle piece and you'll reach wholeness, which just isn't true because we only find that in Christ. Like that's the truth. And that's why we're so passionate about the fact that that's like, this is unhealthy because it is a lie from the devil and it's a strong one that he tells, as opposed to we are given this gift that we are allowed to come alongside someone else and encourage one another and form a partnership. That is a choice that we make with this person that isn't our other half, but is someone that we choose to love. Movies that I think have done that, told kind of that story. Have you guys ever seen Ever After? Do you know Ever After?
No.
Okay.
I feel like I saw half of it.
Sure. Okay.
Fell asleep after that.
Oh no, that was a Michael Jackson laugh. What just happened? It's my teenage boy coming out. So Ever After is a Drew Barrymore movie, and it's a retelling of Cinderella. So it's very, very good. If you haven't seen it, I think it came out in the 90s.
I kneel before you not as a prince, but as a man in love. But I would feel like a king if you, Danielle de Barbavat, would be my wife.
And it tells the Cinderella story, and Cinderella of Disney princesses of old fairy tales. It's my absolute favorite because I never have viewed it as a damsel in distress sort of thing, because she is this super strong woman who chooses to bear her circumstances with kindness. She is dealt a very poor hand, and she doesn't pull like a Matilda, and put like bleach in the shampoo and all of those she doesn't choose to do that. She doesn't choose to rebel. Instead, she says, I am going to serve them kindness and I'm going to push through my circumstances and I'm not going to let it affect me as a person. So, I mean, it's basically a Cinderella story. And it just tells a really good romance. She's a strong woman that is very kind, and then she meets the prince, and he's not pulling her out of her circumstances. They come alongside one another. So that's one of my favorites.
That reminds me of Disney's live-action version of Cinderella, because somebody just recommended it to me to watch, and I watched it, and then we were talking about it, and they said the thing I love so much is that throughout the whole story, every choice that she makes is a choice in kindness. And they were basically saying the same thing you were, so they must be similar. Well, they're both about Cinderella, so
Right.
I just think it's interesting that Cinderella must have some sort of character arc throughout all the different retellings that is making decisions based on kindness, even if it means losing the prince, even if it means not getting happily ever after, she's still choosing to be kind. And I think that's a positive thing to showcase.
I also love with Cinderella, and disclaimer, I don't love this about most movies, but I do love it about Cinderella because leading up to this point, you get to know Cinderella and her kindness and her good character. And then when she meets the prince and dances with the prince, there is this love at first sight feel and love at first sight connection. And in this case, I feel like it's a good thing. And I know some people that the minute they met the person that they chose to be their person, they knew that it was a love at sight first circumstance. And for me, I'm like, yes, that can be realistic and that can happen. And then what they do afterwards tells a lot, because it's like you can meet someone and have love at first sight and know that, hey, I'm going to choose this person if they choose me to be my spouse for the rest of my life. Some people do that and meet and marry pretty quickly, and some people do that and they date and get to know each other for a few years and then get married. And I love in Cinderella how we get to see and know her and her character, and then we get to see that love at first sight, and then we get to see everything that unfolds after. And I just feel like, I agree, I feel like that's a good telling of a love story in a positive way that you can walk away and be like encouraged with.
Yeah.
And find good applications for your life.
Yeah.
You may not meet someone and know that they're the one right away, and you might.
Right.
Who knows?
Right. And on the opposite side of that, another movie that I love the romance in is While You Were Sleeping.
I haven't seen
Either
that.
of you?
So
Okay,
sorry.
you can add it to the list. Because it's about this girl who she had a love at first sight moment. She works at a train station. And there's this regular that comes in and she's just in love with him. He's so beautiful, so handsome. And then one day he something happens medically. I don't remember. He falls onto the tracks and she saves his life and he goes into a coma. And then she goes with him to the hospital, and he's fully out. He's in a coma. His entire family comes. He's part of this big family. He's got 4 siblings, something like that, and really caring parents. And you love the family immediately. And they see her there and they think that it's that miscommunication trope. And they think that she's the fiance of him. And because she said to the nurse, that's my husband, because she's built up this fantasy in her mind of him. And then, just so that's most of the time it's not even, it isn't their romance. She ends up, falling in love with his brother.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's
juicy.
It is. It's dramatic.
So I had planned to marry Peter, but I married Jack instead. Thank goodness my father was right. Life doesn't always turn out the way you plan. But Jack gave me the perfect gift. A stamp in my passport. He took me to Florence for our honeymoon. I guess you might say he gave me the world. Peter once asked me when it was that I fell in love with Jack. And I told him. It was while you were sleeping.
But I loved it because she doesn't have that moment with the other guy. They get to know one another because she starts going to family gatherings. And that's another thing, she falls in love with the family. And I was like, isn't that that's also something that when you have a partner, you're getting a lot more people than just that person. And I don't know, she gets to know this man and actually falls in love with how they connect and his personality and who he is as a person, as opposed to that physical aspect that she had with the other guy. So that's one of my favorite romantic comedies. Also a 90s movie, because I don't believe that we have come out with a good rom-com since the 90s.
Wow.
That's my hot take.
Do better, Hollywood.
Yeah.
I want to hear the rest of your list. I'm really interested.
You're
in all
really
these
interested?
movies. Let's go down the list.
Okay. Have you guys seen The Father of the Bride?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Next.
27 Dresses?
Yes.
You know
'cause
that one?
Katherine Heigl was my girlfriend for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's big.
Yeah.
I don't think
If
that
she's listening.
if she's listening, I
know it
hope
didn't
you're
work
on
out.
good terms.
Yeah.
No, I want to hear some. I want to hear some of your list. Do you have any? Any moody?
Any
rom-coms? Because
I couldn't really think of any like love stories that we're talking about. I keep going back to the love between friends and love of families. I was thinking of 2 verses in Scripture that are good portrayals of love in my mind. John 15:13, greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends. So right there is like, this is what love is, being willing to lay down your life for someone. And then, of course, Romans 5:7-9, for one will scarcely die for a righteous person, though perhaps for a good person one would dare to die, but God shows his love for us, and that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So I don't super relate to the romantic love in films because of my life circumstances, but what I really relate to is this self-sacrificing kind of love. And I already talked a little bit about The Lord of the Rings and where I see it in there. I love watching Harry Potter. I love the friendships between Harry and Ron and Hermione. I love that Harry is willing to sacrifice himself to save the people he loves. Star Wars are some favorite films of mine, and it's the same thing. It's this band of friends who are fighting for what's right, and they're willing to lay down their lives for each other. I love the Avatar films. I especially like the second and third films, and they're all about family.
Yeah.
And the relationship between a father and his son, and the siblings and the family. And so I think those films all do a good job of showcasing not the romantic love, but the David-Jonathan love we see in Scripture, and this idea of love being willing to lay down one's life or to sacrifice for someone. So I like those a lot.
I think Mike was partially looking at my notes because I have something very similar that I took away because of my enjoyment of Marvel movies or action-packed movies or murder mysteries or things like that. A lot of times those movies, the plot is the hero saving the day. There's also usually a subplot of a love story involved.
Sure.
And usually what you see portrayed is the hero in the movie is going to do whatever it takes within his power to save the day, even if that means sacrificing his own life for that. And that got me thinking about John 3:16. And God so loved the world that he gave his only son. And then Christ so loved us that he gave himself on that cross. And love was the driving force behind the best, truest sacrifice and rescue that we as humans need. And how often that is portrayed, whether filmmakers realize it or not, that is portrayed in the movies that they are producing. Now, granted, they do put a lot of other stuff in the movie that I don't agree with, but the overarching theme of a lot of those movies is the sacrificial love. And it's like, oh, that can point me to Christ every single time if I don't let myself get distracted by the other stuff. So I feel like I can watch a lot of different movies and still walk away with that good, positive reinforcement and definition of love, whether the movie's portraying a love story, a romantic love story, or a friend love story, or a family love story, or a combination of all of it. And it's like, oh, almost every time with those hero style movies, you can walk away realizing that that's what Christ did for me.
Right.
So for me, that's one of the big things, because like there's so many movies out there that almost steal the love story from scripture and put it in their movie. And it's fascinating for me to think about as I watch different movies.
Because it's the greatest story ever told. So I think that's a formula in itself, and it's subconscious. And that's so awesome that we as humans like have that, or have the ability to tell stories that can reflect the gospel of Christ, because it is that much more powerful. I've said that similar when we watched Dune. I'm like, this is because there's one Messiah, and I'm like, this is it's so close to the gospel. I'm so intrigued.
I'll have to add Dune to my list of watching.
Yeah, you should, for sure. Yeah. I had also written a verse. I'll throw it in because it's one that you often hear at weddings, that definition of love in the Bible. But I think that it's so powerful to walk away from movies and shows that you watch. And if I'm feeling up in arms, it's cool that the Bible has given us a bit of this outline of what love looks like, so that you can go at it with your human critical mind that God has gifted you with, and you get to analyze what you're consuming, which is a really awesome gift that He's given us, brains that work that way. And it's 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7, that love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing. It rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. I'm just going to mic drop that.
Thanks for listening to episode 17 of Every Single Journey. If you've liked what you've heard, click the subscribe button to be notified when future episodes are available. You can also share this podcast on your social media pages so others can be encouraged too. If you're looking for more faith-based content like this, be sure to check out Family Life's other original podcasts, including If That Makes Sense, 10 Minutes With, You Can't Say That on Christian Radio, Therese Talk, and the Parable Podcast. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Your financial gifts make podcasts like this possible as we seek to share the hope we have in Jesus. You can find out more on our website at familylife.org.